It's Happening Out, the world's most popular live gay TV show, and it's 8 p.m. Wednesday, March 25, 2020. We're excited to thank you. Last week, 502,000 of you watched It's Happening Out. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And we thank you. We begin tonight with breaking, happening now news of our breaking news about coronavirus. So much in the news tonight about coronavirus. First, we want to report on an app that you should look at, which is provided by Kinda Health. Kinda Health brought much of America, the LGBT community in Florida, and specifically in South Florida, to a stop today. Kinda Health is an organization, a software company that produces digital thermometers. You buy the thermometer and then you basically plug in. It's like Fitbit and other kinds of services provided. What they do is they track temperature, and millions of people taking their temperature, and then what happens is they track where temperatures are rising. And it is identifying hotspots in the United States, which includes Colorado, the West, certainly New York, but the hottest spot in the country identified in Kinda Health was in Florida, both the West Coast, Central Florida, and South Florida. Other big news in coronavirus tonight, in our breaking happening now, is the stimulus package has passed. More than $2.2 trillion has been passed by the Senate. It's expected to be signed by President Trump tonight. In highlights of the $2.2 trillion is a direct stimulus check, possibility of up to $1,200 for most adults that filed taxes in 2018. You can qualify for 4 months of full unemployment, increasing the amount by $600 a week that can be qualified for unemployment. $150 billion has been allocated for emergency support of our hospital system in America. $115 billion has been approved for support of local governments, city governments around the United States. A big area, which was a major area of contention of the reason why the Corona bill did not pass, this was the third attempt, and that was the charm, of $367 billion to small businesses to be able to keep their workers in place, and a non-repayment loan after a certain period of time if they do that, and $500 billion for corporate support, including airlines, cruise lines, and other critical industries. Interesting, the Senate's passage of the $500 billion corporate support specifically went out of its way in the new law to exclude Donald Trump, Michael Pence, and other cabinet-level ministers, cabinet-level positions from any association with their businesses. They were not able to apply in the new law that would happen. So the Trump Organization and its hotels are exempt from the law that President Trump is going to sign tonight. The stock market news is also big in terms of coronavirus. 600 points up today. The year-to-date losses through today, March 25th, for 2020, we are down 21% in the New York Stock Exchange in Dow Jones. And while we continue to report that, we bring note to you that in the last 5 years, the New York Stock Exchange, Dow Jones, is still up over the last 5 years, 24%. And over the last 10 years, the New York Stock Exchange, Dow Jones, is up 109%. Still, even with the losses that we've seen in 2020. So that's a quick summary of coronavirus in our happening now. What do y'all think about what's going on in America?
How do you start with that? I mean, devastation, panic, hysteria, sanitation.
Yeah, I think that today was some good news. It definitely is going to send a wave through the country of at least a little help is on the way. I think it's going to, obviously we see that by, the sign of the stock market. there's two sides of this. Of course, we want the economy to keep going because the idea of a complete total halt is going to scare everyone to death. This is a serious virus, and we can't take it lightly. We can't continue to compare it to the common flu because it's not. And, we have to really address this from many different angles. And I think we're starting to see headway. I think people are starting to come around. Thank God that the politicians, thank God you guys, put your egos out of the way and you started putting Americans first. I still think that we should take Donald Trump and remove him from the microphone, but that's, we'll get into that later.
We can do that November 3rd.
Retweet.
Yeah. I think we're definitely heading into a positive direction.
Yeah, I know that now is a very scary time for a lot of people, especially here in Florida, where we're seeing new statistics pop up that maybe we're going to be the next epicenter, maybe more is going to happen. And it is. We're just starting this whole long crisis, this whole long dilemma. However, we're so far ahead, at least, of what the things that we know that we can do that can be helpful. We know what we can do. We know how we can be helpful to each other. And we're here to spread that information every single week. And also to plug our sister show, Q News Tonight. It's every day at 7 p.m. We tell you everything about coronavirus as far as it relates to the LGBTQ plus community, and we have a special Q&A every Thursday. I have to plug that because now is the time for our community to come together. We have to be answering this for everyone. We all have a civil duty to make sure that we're helpful to our society.
I'm curious, what do y'all think about the president's antsiness over the economy stop and social isolation, that he is now starting to chum the waters of having a restart and go back to work by Easter? What do you think about what he's suggesting?
I bet he won't be out there. I bet for sure he won't be out there on Easter, regardless of whatever his religious beliefs are, which are probably not Catholic or whatever abides by Easter. I doubt that he'll be out and about.
I think most religions abide by Easter. I mean, in America.
I don't know.
Christians definitely do.
True.
A lot of people are still working. We're finding a new normal. I'm still working. We are working harder than we ever were before, possibly, maybe, and in different ways. So some people were definitely laid off. Tipped employees, a lot of my friends and coworkers in the drag industry, especially, if the bars close, they aren't making money. No, these bars are not looking out for the girls. So I'm very blessed to be working for a corporation, a 9-to-5 office job, and we're now working from home. So there are people that are still working. And just a new normal is what we're trying
I'm curious, to production, a flash poll. Let's take a real quick flash poll. I'm curious. Do you agree with President Trump that we should be back to work by Easter? Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
What date is Easter?
April 17th.
It won't happen.
Yeah. You don't agree with it, though.
I think that's a good goal, but it's not good. It's not realistic.
No.
So, yeah, I guess I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
I think he should keep working in the fields as long as he needs to and do whatever he has to make sure that our country gets great again, like he says.
Okay. Well, I'm sure coronavirus is going to be intertwined in many of the things that we're talking about tonight. But America, we make a commitment to you. This is It's Happening Out. And we're not MSNBC and we're not Rachel Maddow, although we love both. We want to have some fun tonight also, and that's why 500,000 of you tuned in last week to It's Happening Out, and we thank you very much for it. But that is our breaking news on Corona, and I'm sure that we have more to say about this. So I wish America good evening again. You are watching the world's most popular live gay TV show. So many of your stories we're going to talk about next on It's Happening Out.
This week on It's Happening Out.
Former movie mogul and convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein has now tested positive for coronavirus. Reuters reported.
It's so strong, I completely understand why America wants to start taking these pills. And I think that's actually, and Dr. France agreed, it makes sense.
I've never had a good experience in healthcare.
Made me feel like I couldn't trust doctors.
This experience made me feel dehuman.
Our favorite game, I'd swallow that.
Around this table has gotten uber upset.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest host, Misty Eyes. With your host, lifestyle expert NapoleonPlays, reality TV star Chef Josie, trans activist Aaron Phoenix, DJ Diva Power Infiniti, Republican political analyst Ronny Brenesky, and our moderator, Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, if you can't tell, we are live, and anything can happen, and that's what makes this show entertaining. What's going to get ready to come out of these voices, I have no anticipation or projection of. This is the world's most popular live gay TV show. It's Happening Out.
That's right, and we want to make sure that you guys are sharing this, not just guys, everybody. We want to make sure that you're sharing this at home with your friends, with your family. Like and subscribe on YouTube and on Facebook. It's very, very easy to do both of those things, and we've got a video for you to help you figure out how to do that. Watch this.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
Well, our hosts that are not here in South Florida, when they come in, they stay at the Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. We thank them very much for their continued support of It's Happening Out, and guests of the show say they're also.
And we're broadcasting live from our permanent home here at the World AIDS Museum, smack in the middle of the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors.
And we are sitting at our set courtesy of Concepto Modern Living, right here in the middle of the World AIDS Museum, and we thank them for their support. We remind you that we're doing Q News tonight, daily at 7 p.m. every evening live. We literally say we're out of the closet and into the headlines, and we do national and world LGBT news and news stories with an LGBT perspective. And we'd like to thank you because we know it's become popular in YouTube, which is our principal platform of Q News Tonight. Last week, more than 100,000 of you watched the show. It is approximately 40 times more popular than the number 2 product in the United States. So we thank you very much for that. So let's dive right into the show. And before we do, we have to say, Aaron is in Clearwater, Power is in Lakeland, Ron is in Miami Beach. They're on hiatus right now. Various issues related to social isolation. We have a guest with us tonight, a very famous trans activist in the United States and here in South Florida, Misty Eyes. Misty, welcome to It's Happening Out.
Well, hi.
You were, I'm sorry, welcome Alaska Thunderfuck to...
hi.
Right,
I was just going to say thank you for being the social distance away from me. Because
I
we're
know.
Sure we're abiding by protocol that is put out there.
There it
Josie's at arm's reach.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's so difficult to be that far away from Josie. I agree.
So Misty is literally in a social distancing way going to play with us tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, we thank you. How's your week going? I'm curious. You are a trans activist. You're an HIV educator and counselor. How's your week? How's your week been since I?
So I have been self-quarantining for 13 days now. A lot of our clients at SunServe are, what's that called? I'm drawing a blank. When you're sickly, immune compromised. And so we took this threat very, very seriously. And we were talking about working from home as of early as last week. So as of last Friday, I've been self-quarantining. My clients, we're talking to our clients on a daily basis, reaching out to them in new ways. We're adjusting to the new normal. Me personally, as of Sunday, it was my day off, and I stayed in bed and binge-watched an entire season of that new show, Lock and Key, or The Key House.
I watched it too.
It was
great. I love it.
I think I felt myself going into a state of depression and just not leaving the house. My husband is still working as a security guard, and so he's out every day. But I was locked into a black house, not black but dark, and I started to think when I was in Alaska, where I'm from and my family is from, in the wintertime, doctors would prescribe tanning beds. And you have to leave the house or you have to go in to get vitamin D. So Tuesday on my lunch break, I went for an hour walk and I got sunburnt. I set my timer for 30 minutes. Yeah, and I'm like,
Al and I have been on a walk again.
Yeah, but I mean, I set a timer for 30 minutes and I walked this way and then came back. And I was shocked to get sunburnt, but it amazingly helped my esteem. But today's the first day in 13 days that I've put on a bra.
Wow.
Yeah.
If only you could join that phenomenon, Al.
That happened. All right.
He burned his back in the 70s.
All right. Well, we thank
I know that
Misty.
feeling.
That's funny. We thank Misty for being here tonight with us at It's Happening Out. We always, at the top of the show, we do our meme of the week. We, of course, scour what we watch on the internet. And this is the meme of the week. It's coming up. I haven't seen it myself. And oh, it's a video meme.
We're asking all of them to hold their gatherings to under 10 people. Not just in bars and restaurants, but in homes.
That's cute. All right. So you can only bring 9 boys to the yard with your milkshake. Any thoughts about our meme?
I have to get a little
Well, really,
less
you can
skilled.
only bring 8 because then you would be 10, okay? So, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I have to lower my skill sets to abide by the social standards of distancing. That's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll all get through this. We promise you here.
It's interesting. We're not going to talk about it in Saved by the Bell, but we did this tonight at Q News, reporting about a group of 8 gay guys that got together in a cocaine-fueled orgy party and got arrested over it, and that just popped into my mind.
Oh my God!
Oh, mine too, all night.
And
gay boys.
How did they get arrested?
They got arrested apparently for the cocaine, but the violation of the social gathering. LGBT community. It's time to suspend the interactive sex for a little while.
God, please.
It's desirable.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's next move to our drinking game. I'd swallow that. And as you know, we have shots here, and no time ever since I've been at It's Happening Out, like 70 some episodes, have shots been more welcomed than they are tonight.
Yeah.
And so we're going to play and get some whiskey or some vodka or some water.
Tequila.
Or
Tequila works.
Right. And play with us.
And for what it's worth, I know that a lot of people in our community also struggle with sobriety, especially as it comes to alcohol and other things. I am one of those many people. And it's been difficult going through everything with Corona and trying to maintain that same level of sobriety. So remember, you can still play this game, you can be sober, you can have fun, and still freak the fuck out the next day when you hear more news.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right. So let's
Ready
play.
to take it right now.
Let's play I'd Swallow That. All right. A number of questions that we're going to play. We're going to do 4 tonight. Misty apparently is very anticipating participating.
I don't know.
In the
Misty's ready for 12.
All right, here we go. I'd swallow that. Question number 1. Social distancing has already started making me go stir crazy.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh, is that really, Josie? It's not?
Not really, guys. I can't.
I'm angry with you now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
How are you dealing with that? Of not being angry about just the isolation?
Or sexual isolation.
Listen, guys, okay? I'm around people constantly. The fact that there is social distancing gives me the perfect excuse to actually spend some time with myself, which I appreciate. Enjoy the silence, which I also appreciate. Pay attention to some of the things that I always say I don't have time to do. And the distraction of the rest of the people in my life.
You know, as good as that sounds, imagine how absolutely at the opposite end of the spectrum, how terrible that sounds for Napoleon to have to be with himself by himself. That must be a nightmare.
That's the reason that you and I went to go visit her, because right now there are still some restaurants that are able to serve legally. We went there to make sure we picked up.
Delivery.
So delicious.
Takeout.
Oh my God.
We did
Local
takeout.
business. Yeah.
I was eating that burrata for like 5 hours, just savoring, because I didn't know if I could ever get it again with what's going to happen in the world. But I can't believe you're not talking about sex as you're discussing this, because I am going
I'm married.
insane.
My my wife lives with me. I don't have the same challenges as you do.
And you're not a gay boy.
I don't understand you, lesbians.
Listen, I have, access all day, every day. I don't have to worry about these things. I'm good right now.
I'm good.
Yesterday,
I'm just
Josie.
good. Okay. All right.
My day yesterday was me at 6 feet away from somebody in my backyard. I literally had it measured out to make sure that no matter what happened.
Every morning, Napoleon and I are to get exercise because we would go to the gym together, and of course that's not possible. So we're doing walking. One day I did 6 miles. Yesterday I did 9.4 miles, and today I did 4.5 miles. So I've done almost 20 miles in 3 days.
Yeah, and I did 21.
And Napoleon's right with me. And part of his conversations in this weird rants is telling me how attractive that tree looks to him and what he would like to do to the tree. Or
is that what it means to be a millennial right now?
Oh my God.
What's going on here?
I am trying to show people that they have to keep this social distance. I am literally fighting people on Grindr.
Look at your 5 friends right here. Okay.
My highlight. Forgive me for revealing secrets in our secret conversations that are
Make
going
people
on
happy
as we
right
walk.
now.
Right. My highlight conversation was him explaining to me how he is trying to attract people to him standing in the window.
Oh, I heard that. I'm like, okay, weirdo. Like, you can just do this via video too. It works the same.
Not as a media personality, you can.
FaceTime.
Right.
No, but you know what? I've also been thinking for you. Okay, you could kind of take the glory hole to another level. Gloves on one side. I'm just saying.
Don't worry, we're gonna have a whole new business.
I've been thinking about this.
We're gonna have a whole new business.
Thinking about this.
Whole new business in 2 weeks, I promise. That
Full
are just
body
for fans.
condoms.
Yeah.
Full body condoms.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to show a little about that in a minute. Sorry, I'd swallow that. Let's move to question number 2.
Next.
I have a stay-at-home hobby some people would find weird.
Yeah, I jerk off at people through windows.
Yeah, weird.
Apparently that's weird to people. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't have any weird things?
I don't believe that at all.
I don't think
weird. It's weird to me, so I don't know if it's weird.
I'm very much a straight white woman cooking dinner, watching TV. Sometimes I sew, sometimes I paint.
It's interesting to your observation. One of the things that will come out of this is there will be whole articles and so much written and talked about in the LGBT community of coronavirus, of how millennial gay boy responded to the events, how trans responded, transgendered people responded, how lesbians responded, how baby boomers responded, and what we're going to find is it's all completely different.
Yeah.
We handled it.
I mean, I think
my
the
generation, my
thing,
people are fucking failing the country. I get it.
I think that the weirdest thing that I'm doing is probably being like uber sanitary.
Yeah, me too.
It's like I'm turning my house into a surgical room.
Weird.
And it's crazy.
Also
that's
funny
a little weird.
to that point is I was probably 2.5 weeks ahead of the curve in terms of sanitation, Lysol spray, hand sanitizer, and so many people around me, I really felt like they judged me, that you're taking this too far, you're taking this too far.
I saw a lot of people like, I washed my hands before the coronavirus. I think a lot of people were being sardonic or snarky.
Yeah,
like,
snarky.
How dare you wash your hands?
Fortunately, a lot of people have been watching us for a few months and have at least seen us change our habits because it's crazy. You don't think you're going to have to change your habits this much, but you do. We've started. We're really highly encouraging it. Again, I will say this 10 times today. Younger LGBTQ people, especially you gay guys that are on Grindr right now, you are my mission. I will make sure that you socially distance. I don't know what I have to do to make that happen, but I will make it happen.
Now, Napoleon's going to get really excited on question number 3 of I'd Swallow That.
I'm going to get excited watching a tree.
Hopefully we have that video ready that we can show. We don't, unfortunately. Okay. Question number 3. I'll just describe what the video is.
Oh, God.
I'd Swallow That. Question number 3. I could get into quarantine kink scene. I did get into
You know, I would definitely be much more turned on if it had been anyone else saying this, but it had been you, so I am no longer turned on.
What is it? I could get into a quarantine kink.
Well,
oh, now I'm a little turned on. Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh yeah, but here's the thing. No. Be socially responsible. Don't do that unless you're willing to quarantine with them forever. I'm not willing to put my family at risk. I'm not willing to put people I care about at risk by going into a quarantine kink scene. Absolutely.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Wait a minute. Can't you have a quarantine?
I'm going to try to explain.
Okay.
There's a video circulating, and it's done as a joke, and they're both in hazmat suits. And they literally are doing every sexual act there is, but they're in hazmat suits. And that's the kink. It's a quarantine kink.
Yeah.
So doing new and kinky things with your partner in home alone.
Yeah.
Quarantining, yes, I could get into that probably.
Yeah.
So I'll drink to that part. Inviting other people into my home during the quarantine is a weird thing.
Here's the sad thing, is because Napoleon doesn't have any real friends, he's not able to have quarantine kink.
I don't want friends. I just want fuck buddies, and now's the problem that I'm experiencing right now. Who would have ever known that that would be a bad thing?
Actually, it's funny that you say that, because I haven't asked you this in our walks. What's going on in Grindr? Tell me. I'm not in Grindr. I don't need to be in Grindr, by the way. I hope you get to the point where you don't need to be in Grindr.
You couldn't be in Grindr. I've actually, you guys will be interested to hear this. I've had to create 4 separate accounts in the last couple of days.
Okay, I don't even want to know why.
No.
Just stop.
No. Video. It's important information for everybody to hear, and I need to get this out because.
There's the video.
Or it's not. But no, there really is, and it is distracting.
You are, by the way, America, YouTube and Facebook. You're not seeing any sex. There's no sex going on here because they're in hazmat suits.
That's true, and we'll show you tomorrow on the Q&A that we do at every Thursday on Q News Tonight how you can have safe LGBTQ sex. But what I was talking about Grindr, as far as it goes with Grindr, right now my mission has gotten me banned 4 times. My headline is along the lines of social distancing. I quote and I show images of just the CDC. It's verified information, and I am very positive.
And Grindr is banning you?
The other people are reporting him.
No, I'm being banned within the course of an hour over the weekend. I wasn't saying... there are people that are there as sex workers that are doing all sorts of things.
And they're reporting you.
For drugs. And I'm the one saying, hey, look, I'm not being... I know I have a tendency to be overbearing. You've all experienced it, but I'm trying to be helpful.
And Grindr is taking your profile down because you're talking about the responsibility of Corona.
They're banning me because I'm being responsible with Corona.
Wow.
I don't know what that means. It could just be that they don't want misinformation spread like Facebook a couple of weeks ago, or they could be doing something terrible for their business that's actually harmful to our entire community. I don't know which yet.
What do y'all think of that?
I think it's people blocking you, or not blocking you, reporting you.
Yeah, that sounds...
I think somebody saw your profile and was like, I go on Grindr occasionally to look for clients. A lot of trans women hang out on Grindr for obvious reasons, and I'll occasionally go on there and be like, hey, if you need help with your name change, gender marker change, hormones, whatever, I do that. And it's shocking. I straight up there say, I am not single, I am not here for sex, and I say I'm here to help the girls, and if you're a guy and want prep, I can help you with that. It's shocking. Yeah, of course. It's shocking how many people will message me and say, I got the tea, I got the needles, I got the points, and I got the, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, so there are definite people on there with a mission.
It makes me, this wasn't what the intention of the I swallowed that question was, but it begs the question. Is the LGBT community, from a sexual interaction, the social isolation issue,
negligent?
Are we taking this serious?
No, I don't think so.
Especially not millennials.
I think, yes, I agree with you. I think the millennials are looking at the statistics and saying 80% of the people infected with corona or dying of corona are over 60 years old. I'm young, I'm going to live forever. That doesn't apply to me. But what they don't realize is they might not get sick, but they can carry it to their grandma. They can carry it to their mom. They can carry it home. Yeah. And if somebody's a smoker or if they're have compromised immune systems, they are also at risk. So you might be young, but if you're a smoker, a girl 22 years old died because she was a smoker, and she got the bronchial infection.
We reported on Q News tonight. New York Governor Mario Cuomo reported having access to the most beneficial statistical analysis of what's going on in corona in the United States. New York is the hotbed center. We're concerned it being exported to Florida and South Florida. Reported today in his briefing that 46% of all new transmissions were between 18 and 44 years old. 46%. And to Misty's point, while the death rate percentages are significantly lower, they're still very high. Yeah. But the risk of transaction of coronavirus for millennials from 18 to 30 years old, Gen Zers and millennials, their risk of transaction to their parents and their grandparents is dramatic.
Yeah.
Yes,
dramatic.
And I want to make one more point with that. I know we're running really long with this, but I might have this. I don't know. We can't know because I'm a generally healthy person, and I am exposed to people all of the time. We all are. That's what we do in the entertainment field. It's what we're doing in media because we care. I don't know that I'm not exposed. Everywhere I'm off, when I'm offset, we're distanced here. When I go shopping anywhere, I don't just have hand sanitizer. I don't just have my mask on. I make sure that I'm doing everything I can to distance and protect other people. Because I would hope and I would pray, if that even makes sense anymore, that other people would be doing that for my mother and people that I care about. Because this is a public health crisis, and you being selfish enough to think, oh, I'm going to be fine, is not only incorrect, but it could be dangerous.
You know, I'm going to regret this forever. But there is one thing about Napoleon that I'm jealous as hell of. He's got an N95 respirator. And we went to your takeout, one of the federal government respirators that are absolutely what the government wants, the N95.
Oh, you mean a mask?
It's a mask, but it's super mask.
Okay.
The ones that really protect you. And I've been looking for either medical technicians or other people that might really need it. If you know me personally, please ask. I was willing to send it to my mom, but she was fortunate enough to be in isolation early. I just need the help.
Napoleon doesn't know this. After we came to Bubbles and Pearls last night, I was able to confiscate it quietly, and I placed it on Amazon today. So everything is fine. Everything is fine. All right, let's do question number 4. I'd swallow that. Question 4. You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. I've only taken one shot. Gosh, I hope this one's better. Everything that is going on has made me appreciate how life was before.
Wasn't life with Trump before this?
It's going to be after this, too.
I know.
You know, I'm going to take
longer.
the shot. But I really don't mean taking the shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's me too.
Drunk.
I'm just thirsty. You know what I'm saying?
Josie, I'm thirsty too. That's why I want that tree on my body.
I'm serious.
I do think we take for granted oxygen and think things until they're taken away from us. We're like, oh my gosh, you know. Yeah. And I am a very social person, like you. I've been in the nightlife industry. I've been in nightclubs. I'm now in social services. And quarantining is really difficult for me. I didn't notice that. I'm still FaceTiming and talking to clients and people, but I need physical interaction.
That's your love language, physical touch, huh?
It is. Oh my God, it is my love language.
Hey, you're married, but if you need a good
just so you guys know, my love language is words of affirmation.
You
so you guys just keep calling me and telling me how great I am. Okay.
You're pretty.
I'm smart.
You're smart.
I'm a genius.
Are your affirmations?
Yeah, exactly.
You're so smart.
I'm just happy with the free.
All right.
So hot,
I have never finished. I'd swallow that with 2 shots, but I'll finish them in the show.
You never finish anyway.
All right. Let's move on to some celebrity hot topics that we want to talk about this week. Big topic in the news this week in celebrity is about Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein has tested positive for COVID-19 in prison. Are we happy about it? No. Are we happy when someone becomes ill?
No.
Even somebody like Harvey Weinstein?
Listen, it comes down to this, guys.
Wait, actually, before I ask you that question, we've prepared something about that. Let's watch this.
Former movie mogul and convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein has now tested positive for coronavirus. Reuters reporting that Weinstein tested positive and is in isolation at a state prison in Buffalo, New York, where he is serving a 23-year sentence. Last month, a jury convicted Weinstein of rape and sexual assault. He has said repeatedly that he is not guilty.
Harvey's not having a really good year.
Yeah, well,
I think everyone in 2020 could say that.
But
this
Harvey's
is called karma,
really,
guys. Okay, this is a karmic, experience he's definitely having at the moment, and none of us should be happy.
This was the most powerful man in the entertainment industry in the world. Period.
Yeah.
But I think people are getting corona that are angels and not karmatically deserving of corona. I don't think corona knows...
but we're talking about Harvey Weinstein right now.
Yeah, but I don't think corona knows race. I don't think corona knows social economic status. I don't think corona knows religious preference. I think it's affecting anybody that's able to get it. And the only thing I will say is, isn't he being quarantined in prison?
That's part of what I was thinking about. Is yes, this is the problem that this might be exposing is the problems with more people catching this in prison. But as someone that has been a part of the Me Too movement, there is a little bit, the slightest bit of justification that I say, well, good for you, because maybe now for a moment you're going to feel something others do, and I hate that part of myself.
I'm unclear. Make it really super clear to me. Are you glad he got corona?
I'm not glad. Like I said, we should be really digging deep and accessing our compassion and empathy for everyone in this moment, because this is, like you said, Misty, it's not discriminatory against anyone due to your race, your sexuality, your socioeconomic, whoever you raped and whatever. It's not choosing like that. I mean, I personally have already 3 people in my life, in my network, and it's in my network, in my community of people who have died because of complications of this. Today I heard of coronavirus, and
tested and known.
Tested and died.
So it's been known that it's been exactly related to it.
Okay.
I don't want to create miscommunication, which is what I think you just did.
Pardon.
You have 3 people in your circle that contracted corona and have passed.
Yes.
Okay, now we understand.
Okay.
Continue.
And that being said, today I just heard in the chef world, one of a famous chef, who not only is a big-time mover and shaker in the food world, Floyd Cordoz, he passed because of the coronavirus. And so, right now, listen, Weinstein is the least of my worries right now. If he's getting what he deserves, well, that's for him and the maker to know. You know what I'm saying? But for anyone to even go, oh yeah, great, and be cheering it on like this is like, oh yeah, it's like a video game and this disease is going to take out all the people we hate. That's just like, guys, please.
Let me phrase it in a different way. I'm curious of your reaction to this. Will we celebrate if Donald Trump or Michael Pence gets coronavirus?
Celebrating is such a bad word to me. I don't think I would take pride.
Will we be happy?
No, I don't. I'm not going to be happy that anybody. One of the Facebook Live viewers right now just mentioned Prince Charles has coronavirus.
Yes, right.
So I mean, some people don't deserve it that have it, and I don't. Yes, do evil people deserve things terrible? Of course, I think so. And I do believe that some people bestow on them karmatic doom. But some people don't, and they're still getting sick. And
do you think like my question about Trump and Pence, if we had the ability to poll the LGBT community, secretly, privately, they could express, do you think the majority of them would be happy if President Trump got coronavirus?
I wouldn't cry if he passed. I'm not going to be lying if I said I would not cry, but I can't say that I'd be happy.
Yeah. What do you think most of the community would think? Would they be happy about it?
I'm sure they would.
I think a lot of people would easily be, because it's so easy to say that this is about one good versus another evil, and it's so easy to make this so simple. Well, I know how I feel here. It's so simple in your head to make something about emotions, but it's not.
He hates
quite frankly, if this would quiet him up and get him off the mic, I mean, I'd totally be down
You're
for
supporting the idea of please stop talking.
Yeah,
okay.
just like stay in bed.
Before we move out of this celebrity hot topic number 1, let me flip it, because we're reporting this at Q News tonight. There's a whole gamut of really fanatical evangelical religious leaders in America and other places in the world that are saying this is another gay plague. Coronavirus was created to be able to stamp out the gay community. What do you think about their reactions? Because they're not
attacking the gay community. I mean,
Hold on.
Okay, if we could start by saying a lot of the conversations I've been having on social media trying to be helpful are, even with friends, people that are intelligent that are now being called racist, and it's anecdotal, I get it, but that are having problems because they are following the model of President Donald Trump, who is calling this the Chinese virus or the China virus, the China flu, the Kung flu. And when they use those same words, they're attacked because they're seen as racist.
Yeah.
They're following the leadership of our country by doing something that is racist. Yes, in the past we've had the Spanish flu, and that was named because of where it was located, but the reality is that this is a racist comment because it's a human virus. It has nothing to do with China, except that it originated from there, and people for eternities have been blamed for pandemics. As a Jew, I say that with the Black Plague. It's been a problem. I won't let him continue.
I think we can generally all agree that one of the things that with Harvey Weinstein being tested positive, the observations of what the LGBT community would think about Pence or Trump getting it, and what some religious evangelicals are saying about Corona as it relates to the LGBT community, this time must reflect our humanity.
Yeah. Yes,
and if it does not reflect our humanity, we're really going to exacerbate this time way worse than it should be if we don't do that.
But quickly, before we move on, to the person that originated the gay disease, coronavirus, it originated in China. And are there a lot of gay people in China? So how could they say that it was a gay disease, first of all? And if the right-wing Christian people are saying this is the gay disease, they're the ones that are getting Easter erased.
Yeah.
And it's really affecting as Christians, major holidays. And I sing in a choir. We were amping up for Easter Sunday service, and the biggest service of the year. That was canceled. And not just in my church, but my sister and her husband have a church in Kodiak, Alaska. They're now doing Facebook Live services because they can't go to church in Kodiak, Alaska, a small island in Alaska. They can't even go.
First, I love the grizzly bears.
Yeah,
it's an amazing place. I have to take the opportunity, LGBT America, if you haven't tuned in, Happening Out Television Network is doing a major sponsorship of the Sunshine Cathedral here in South Florida. The largest LGBTQ church in the world is based here in South Florida. And in this time of coronavirus, we have helped them in terms of being able to bring their broadcast to the American LGBT community and the world. It broadcasts every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. And honestly, it is absolutely amazing. And I hope you'll take the opportunity to do it, because with Easter, Good Friday coming, this is a complete great opportunity for LGBTQ Christians to stay connected. The Sunshine Cathedrals broadcast Sundays at 10:30, significantly supported by It's Happening Out, Q News Tonight, and the Happening Out Television Network. We hope you do that, because there are many good stories going on in religion. They're not all bad. Let's move to celebrity hot topic number 2, and that's about Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz had a lot of coronavirus treatment recommendations this week that were rejected significantly by the U.S. Surgeon General. We've prepared a little package on that before we talk about this. Watch this.
The data is so strong, I completely understand why America wants to start taking these pills. And I think that's actually, and Dr. France agreed, it makes sense. It's going to happen anyway. But we need more data. So let's do both. You don't have to be right and wrong in this. You could actually start the clinical trials. We'll get the data back over the next week or two, 3, whatever it takes. But meanwhile, people can start treating. If the data comes back as positive as they found in France, then we're fine. Just keep going. If the data turns out to be the opposite, doesn't work, why expose people to these pills?
Doctor, we had Dr. Oz on at the top of this hour, and what he talked about was how promising he thinks that malaria drug, when used in concert with Z-Pak, was with one of the French doctors who treated 36 people, and their viral level all went from 100 down to 0.
We need to verify through studies that they actually work, but I also, again, want to go back to the fact that it's not practical to think we're going to treat our way out of this problem with new drugs or with ventilators or with supplies. We need to lower demand. We need more people talking about staying at home. It's why I reached out to Kylie Jenner last week. It's why my kids say, Dad, reach out to Lauren Gray and Roman Atwood and have them help these millennials understand they're spreading virus, and the more they spread, the more we're going to need these drugs, the more we're going to need ventilators and masks.
We saw the news about the person that died that experimented with the drug that President Trump talked about at the at the White House briefing and used the drug inappropriately and died, and his wife is in critical condition in the hospital. This is just another example of those alternatives of potential vaccine or cures that have not gone through a vetting process in clinical trials. What do y'all think about people like Dr. Oz coming out and talking, and what the Surgeon General is trying to manage in terms of misinformation? What do y'all think?
Well, I mean, it's just like Amy Klobuchar made a post today on Twitter giving an update about her husband and saying that this is very different than the seasonal flu and that her husband is actually coughing up blood and on a respirator. In response, I saw Rocco DiSpirito, if you guys know who that is. The restaurateur and chef, say, I have a friend who's getting treated with an experimental drug that's helping out right now. Listen, guys, I guess if you have the money to be experimental with your life, then go ahead and rock on. And hopefully in that experiment, some sort of cure will come out for the rest of those people out here who don't have the money, don't have the access, don't even have the ability, the possibility of being that experimental with their lives. It is what it is, and people who have access, and that's what we're seeing right now, people who have access are having access to these potential cures. Well, good. Let them be the front line.
I think Dr. Oz probably has the best, most purest intentions in helping people become more healthy. But also, I think he's trying to capitalize on people's fear and the hysteria. And look, if I take this vitamin, I'm going to reduce or stop the fact that I might ever get corona. But in reality, he's selling. I agree with the Surgeon General. I think unless it's vetted or unless it's studied and analyzed, you can't say that it will cure you. And everyone's looking for a miracle fix. We live in a microwave society. We want to put it in the microwave and say 2 minutes, and bam, I've got the boobs, and bam, I got the hips, and bam, I'm corona-free. But that's not realistic. And you're selling a pipe dream, and you're making a profit, and I think that's disgusting.
In the same area, let's expand this a little farther. What do y'all think about what's going on in the White House corona briefings, where there are medical experts around the president, and the president is just basically overriding them, to the point where the chief infectious disease doctor said in 2 different interviews over the weekend, what is it you expect me to do? Slap the microphone out of his hand.
I would love to see that.
Direct quotation.
That's a direct quote, by the way.
Yeah.
The same issue here. We seem to be having great conflict between our political and anecdotal conversation in the LGBT community of what's appropriate and not, and then the recommended science and health of scientists' recommendation. What do y'all think about what's going on there?
This is an impossible Sophie's choice. I know that multiple here are business owners. This is public health more important than private business? And unfortunately, we didn't need to make that choice if we had prepared ourselves federally 3 months ago. But we didn't do that, Trump didn't do that, and now we're at the point where we are starting to have to do that. And so it's an impossible situation, because how can you say that a few people's lives are worth less than businesses surviving, which make other people survive and then literally save their lives? This juxtaposition is impossible, and it's something that Donald Trump put us in because he wasn't preparing us ahead of time.
The truth of the matter is that this has been mishandled since day one. Okay, it's gone against every single health expert recommendation. And what we're soon going to find is that every American in this country is going to know someone who's been affected by this virus. That's where we're headed.
Or die.
And what is really it's unfathomable in this moment is that we have a president who would prefer to push propaganda than to push and inform the American public with the truth. I think that the American public is prepared for the truth. I think by this point, there's enough social media out there. We're seeing military vehicles. We're seeing tanks. We're seeing Humvees just like trained into cities. We don't even know what is going to happen next. And not to create widespread panic, but guys, listen, we can be positive about the actions we're taking. We are 2 weeks behind what Italy, just look around the world. That's what we have to do. We don't even have to listen to our own government. We can look around the world and see what's coming, unless you're completely, totally blind, okay? And you're ignorant, or you're just completely disconnected at the moment, then you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And we must be informed in order to move forward in a way that it's that we're valuing our lives, human lives, okay? That we're moving forward with a contingency plan to get through this, that we're being responsible about it on all levels.
That's true. And it's crazy to think that there are leaders of other countries, from the UK, from France, from Germany, Angela Merkel, Macron, who are telling us what we're supposed to be doing. They're saying, hey, your leadership is failing you. And they are. So then what can you do next? I'm looking at them. Cuomo's doing a great job in New York. He is the de facto leader of what's going on with Corona in our country, because he is the only person that seems to report facts and make it seem calm enough for people to actually respond with that information. Right now, he's the only person in our country on a slightly more federal level.
Yeah. Let's move out of the Dr. Oz story and what we've talked about here and move into something a little lighter, and we call it the best thing of the week. We are going to continue to be dedicated to try to find some fun things. And the best thing of the week this week is about walking your dog while you're in quarantine. And we're preparing this video.
That is so cute.
And this is the way.
Wow, that's great.
You walk your dog.
Oh my God, is someone in love with this video?
That's the rich people's problems.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
What a great idea.
It's a great idea. My question, does the drone come down and pick up the droppings? And
No, of course not.
Not yet, but that's about to be the new technology, I'm sure.
That is
We're
clever,
call it
though.
Trump technology. Pick up the shit.
Yeah.
Get your exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. So
maybe we can call Scott Pressler. I think that maybe he'll
Right.
have a good solution
suggestion,
for that.
right. So that's our best thing of the week, walking your dog while in quarantine. Next, we want to focus on what's on your mind. Each week, we ask our host what's on their mind, and we give them 30 seconds to tell us what's on their mind. We try to hold them to that. It's difficult, but we're going to try to do that tonight. And so, Napoleon, let's start with you. In 30 seconds, tell us what's on your mind.
Well, obviously, I think the world has a lot on their mind right now. So I'm going to choose to think about the things that make me feel a little bit more calm. I have gotten so reconnected to nature. I have started calling my family. Friends in New York that I have been disconnected from since I left there 5 years ago. Exes that I've had who just want to make a better difference. The world is coming together. It's even kind of healing. There's so much less carbon emission. We're watching the earth heal itself. There's a lot of terrible things happening right now, but there are some positive things, and I am doing my damnedest to make sure that I'm focusing on them and not just the terror that we could feel, but we don't need to.
All right. And Misty Eyes, what's on your mind?
I touched on it a little bit earlier. What's on my mind, obviously, is coronavirus. Also, I was going on a vacation to visit my family in late June, early August, and I was just informed today that I can't go. So as we adjust to our new normal, I think, like I said earlier in the show, if you just tuned in, get out of your house. I know it's so easy to stay in your pajamas or naked. I'm not going to lie. I'm not naked unless I'm on FaceTime. I am naked unless I'm on FaceTime with a client or a friend. But as of Monday, I started putting on clothes like a normal person and going outside like a normal person. I went to the pool. I went for a walk. And you have to start acting normal and functioning otherwise for your mental health. Respect yourself, protect yourself, stay socially distanced, but also you have to return to normalcy to some extent.
Yeah. All right. And Chef Josie, what's on your mind?
So, I'm going to just share authentically with you guys today. I mean, I do all the time, but of course, the COVID-19 is on my mind. And as a business owner, it's been the only thing that's consumed every moment of every hour of every day since we've been following it or reporting it. Today, I've been in my feels for a couple days now, really experiencing a little fear I've been nervous. I've been anxious. And I had to just remember that I'm human. And as a leader in my community and as someone who is always putting my community before me and someone who's really committed to being a positive voice, I allowed myself today to feel my feelings and to just experience being human. And I invite everybody out there to also allow yourself to be human, because it is not unheard of for us to cry. It is not unheard of for us to be scared. It is not unheard of for us to have anxiety through this process. The point is that allow yourself to feel it, and then let's stay focused on the end result.
I love that observation.
Yeah, that's good.
What's on my mind this week is how much we take for granted. It is front and center in front of me constantly. I'm a busy person. No matter what I'm doing, I'm a busy person because I don't like boredom. I don't like sitting around doing nothing. I like to learn. I'm a curious person. Corona has changed all of that. But most important of all, it has changed a perspective of realizing how much I took for granted. Corona has put in front of us the changes that have gone on in our life in organic ways, not only in terms of going into our bars or seeing our shows or eating in our restaurants, but the assumption that you can't go to the gym whenever you want to. The assumption that if you drive during rush hour, it'll be no problem to drive in rush hour because there are not many cars on the road anymore. And we would rather complain about the traffic of rush hour than recognizing, wait, this might all go away. Yeah. It is because we take everything for granted, no matter what it is. And one of the things that is really principally on my mind is when this ends, how quickly will we return to taking it all for granted again? And for me, that is a sentinel moment. At this point, as a baby boomer, in my 50s, my obligation is to memorize every moment I'm experiencing, every sentence of words coming out of people's mouths like these, to remember exactly what they're saying, to watch exactly what happened. We went to Josie, Napoleon and I went to Chef Josie's restaurant yesterday for some takeout food and drove down Wilton Drive, the gayest place on planet Earth that was a total ghost town. So as a result, I am going to try to not take that for granted, and that's what will come for me next.
Thank you all.
We're going to move into our topic tonight, which is about LGBT Health Awareness Week. Not counting COVID-19, what are you doing to stay fit and stay healthy and mentally and physically challenge yourself to be healthy? LGBT Health Awareness Week. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, in order, number one is allowing myself the space to be still. And I'm already someone who practices mindfulness. I'm already practicing meditation. But guys, we don't understand how important meditation is in this moment, the moment to be still, to listen to your thoughts, to allow yourself to breathe, allow your mind to rest, and to quiet the noise so that you can really hear what's real. Because all the news and stuff will get you on a highly charged type of beingness, right? But when we allow ourselves a moment to like breathe, that's one thing. And also staying active. You can't sit on the couch. You can't. Go out into your yard, go look there on YouTube. There's so many like yoga videos. There's Tai Chi. There's people going live on Instagram right now with daily health classes. My friend Lisa Gaylord has been in the fitness world forever.
Music.
Yeah.
Relate Weber was on.
Exactly. Sorry.
we got distracted with all the options we have while we're staying at home. Josie and I are basically talking all the time with ways we can inspire that kind of love.
Yeah.
As we continue on this topic about the LGBTQ Health Awareness Week, we want to, I don't know what that means. As we continue with the LGBT Health Awareness Week, we also, as we continue this conversation, want to show you a little video package about what's going on this week. And watch this.
I've never had a good experience in healthcare.
This experience made me feel really vulnerable. It made me feel like I couldn't trust doctors.
This experience made me feel dehumanized.
The doctors all refused to acknowledge me as trans, and
the doctors who treated me wanted to treat me as if I was a cisgendered woman who wanted to have kids, and didn't really take into account that that's not necessarily the way I identified or what I wanted.
Asking me questions about my sexuality and then giving me quite a lecture about morals and about what was right and wrong to do with sex, and about letting down my parents, all in the middle of the procedure, which was a really sort of traumatic experience.
I've had one really good experience with a neurologist that I saw. She noticed that I'd ticked Mr. on the box, but my doctor had put the referral as female, and so she actually spoke to me sort of briefly about that and just asked and when she then had to write a letter again, she checked what I wanted to actually have on it, and that was fantastic.
Let's take a moment to focus on mental health in the LGBT community, part of the LGBT Health Awareness Week. I would imagine, Misty, in terms of the clinical work that you do with your clients, mental health is a principal issue. Depression is likely a very principal issue. Tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing right now in Corona.
Well, I think, first of all, if you are on the transgender spectrum, you automatically battle depression. I think most LGBTQ people do as well, because we are not mainstream and we are pushed aside by society, and that has to affect you as a human being. So I think a lot of times we are struggling a little bit more maybe than typically normal people. So you have to learn to love yourself. And that comes in unique ways. And it took me personally a very, very long time to learn to love myself and to realize that I do deserve love and I'm worthy of love. And some of those things might come from daily affirmations. I am beautiful. I am smart. I deserve love. I deserve wealth. I deserve prosperity. And so those are some things I personally do to help myself remind myself that I am not an abomination. I am not disgusting. I am not trash. And I do deserve things, because I speak to myself in my past. I have spoken to myself worse than I have ever witnessed somebody say to another person. And if I witnessed somebody speak to another human being this way, I would attack them. And I talk to myself that way. And I have talked to myself that way for a very long time.
Wow,
so I've had to learn to re-educate myself about my self-worth. And that's something I teach all of my clients. Honey, you are beautiful.
You know, when we're sitting in isolation, my goodness, I'm not supporting the president's words, but his words yesterday about pushing for Easter, he fumbled what he was trying to say, but the point he was trying to make is that if America didn't come back to some semblance of order and working, that thousands and thousands of people were going to commit suicide because they were isolated, and in their isolation they were going to do very dramatic things. Now, he fumbled his observation, but there are granules of truth to his observation that the isolation leads to depression and the depression leads to suicide.
And so, have you ever seen The Shining?
Yes.
That's real. That happens. That really, really happens. Granted, that was an extreme case of social isolation. They were on a mountaintop, there was no internet, there was no Skype, there was no FaceTime. That was a very extreme case. But that really happens, which is why I'm telling my clients, leave your house every day. You don't have to go into public, you don't have to hug people, but go outside and see the sunlight. Go outside and find a canal or a lake or a pond or a pool and sit by the water. You have to return to some sense of normalcy for yourself.
That's such good advice.
That's true. And you're right. LGBTQ people have, in general, a very large propensity to be exposed to all sorts of different problems, from having different mental disorders to, as I mentioned earlier, different issues with sobriety, like I hinted on with myself. And I know that this has been a very difficult time for me, just to make sure that I'm worried about my mom, I'm worried about everything, to make sure that I'm staying sober. And so I've increased my support team, and I'm trying trying something really new right now, which is being vehemently honest about the fact, because over a year that I have been sober, I have not really talked about it on camera. I've made allusions to it, and I know that for myself and for a lot of other people, this is a time of extreme struggle. And this is not the time that you have to let your mental health eat away at yourself. This is why getting out, there's all sorts of different ways to work out, to work on your physical health, to get over your mental health, whether that be Planet Fitness or Chris Hemsworth, who just had an amazing workout plan that has now gone free. There's a lot of things that you can do. But it's a difficult time for people that are struggling with any kind of addiction, because we're all scared, we're all in pain, and especially if you're part of our community, then you probably really care about other people too, and now is a hard time to deal with that.
Napoleon, it's LGBT Health Awareness Week, and we're talking about physical health and staying active. We're also talking about our mental health, especially not directly affected by Corona and COVID-19, but the ramifications of what social isolation is doing.
Exactly.
You opened the door, and so therefore I'm going to come in. You have struggled with alcohol for quite a long time. So as you're dealing with this situation, there's many, many people that are listening to you right now that are in the exact situation that you are in, but do not have a television show where they can sit and say, this is what's happening to me. What do you think about the people that are listening to you that go, that's my problem too, but what do I do about it?
It's exactly just what you said. I'm just a person just like any of you. I'm reaching out for help. I'm talking to my sponsor a lot about his cat, checking in on him, doing what I can to be of social service to other people. I'm increasing the meetings that I go to. There's some great services that allow you to have meetings online. If you ask me, I think Blue Jeans is one of them. A great friend told me about that, where you can have a digital online meeting. But just reaching out to anyone, friends that are sober, friends that aren't, people that are doing anything. It is a very difficult time, and mental health is definitely in struggle for a lot of people right now. You can hear me getting emotional just even with my words, because this is something that I have ridiculously kept hidden, because I thought that I could be better or be helpful to more people in this past year that I've been struggling with this, rather than talk about it. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I had not made it this much of an effort, because maybe I would be in a slightly better place now. And I hope that that's true for all of you. If any of you are struggling, reach out to somebody, find a resource. I'll help you. Misty will help you. Anyone at this table will help you, because now is a difficult time for everybody. Spread love, do what you can, and it's really hard, but we love you.
Well, I think the number one issue that comes out of this conversation and the other points that you make, it's LGBT Health Awareness Week, and the coronavirus has made it ultimately even more difficult in terms of physical activity and exercise, and the social isolation, adding to the mental issues that we all face, or that many face in the LGBT community, in social isolation that goes on a daily basis. And this has become a mandatory social isolation process. So I think all of your words, but especially your situation, Napoleon, are really valuable. And I hope Americans that face the exact same struggles that Napoleon is facing, you follow his advice. The first is to admit.
Yeah.
Admit, which is what you have just watched in this topic. Let's continue to Saved by the Bell. This is a lightning round of LGBT topics in the news this week and other headlines. We're going to do 60 to 90 seconds. That time is flexible depending on how quickly Napoleon bores us.
Everything's about sex for me today. Making sure I'm having fun, and we're going to have fun with this, guys.
Exactly. So each of these topics are going to be 60 to 90 seconds. And when we get to the end, I'm going to ring the bell, and we're going to immediately stop and move on to the next topic. Does everybody agree? This week is going to be so Wait, I need to come back to that. Does everybody agree? Yeah, of course.
You're talking this like Mad Max, okay?
Exactly. Well, and this week it's going to be so much easier because Aaron and Power and Ron are not here. So we miss you. Peace out, right?
Thanks
All
for
right.
staying safe.
So let's play Saved by the Bell. All set? All right. Topic number 1, Saved by the Bell. Transgendered woman was murdered while being helped by paramedics in North Carolina. In this story, there was a fight, an incident, and the transgendered woman was actually in the ambulance and the assailant reached into the ambulance and shot the trans woman person to death, committed murder. What do y'all think?
I know that you're going to respond to this in a moment, but there's no human that has emotions that should not watch this or hear this story and feel like this is the most asinine thing that you've ever experienced. How dare any of this happen at all? Somebody in pain, somebody in an ambulance being murdered because of who they are. It's unfathomable right now. We have to spread love. We have to spread joy. And I want to give you a moment to talk. It's just, that's ridiculous.
I'm going to retweet what you just said. You said everything that's correct. When I first heard this news, I heard it last week when it happened, or the end of last week. I was like, wait, she got shot in an ambulance?
Right.
Like, I had to read it like 10 times before I realized.
To even make it believable.
Yeah, I'm like,
Oh
no,
my God.
she got shot in the ambulance. No, okay, what they meant was she got shot. No, she got shot in the ambulance.
That means that she got through all those police officers, all the people that were standing outside
and
of
let's be clear, she didn't get shot, she got murdered.
Yeah.
Let's not just use the word shot, she was murdered in the ambulance.
Then, subnote, all paramedics are fine. No one's injured but her. So, yeah, I experienced a lot of thoughts. Obviously, statistically, trans women of color are the most hated minority, marginalized community in the United States of America today. I am not shocked at all that she's a trans woman of color. I'm not shocked at all that a trans woman of color was murdered. I'm shocked that she was murdered in an ambulance.
Which you've made quite clear.
All right. We love you, Monica Diamond.
I'm going to take liberty as moderator to just add an observation here. I have many friends that say, in the gay community, we've arrived. We're accepted in the gay community. And I always point out, in the last 4 months, the #1 area of attack on LGBT community in state and local municipalities in the United States is on transgendered people. We are under full attack, and you're just not seeing it as clearly as you should because you're not paying attention to transgendered issues. Saved by the Bell #2. Miley Cyrus this week stated that she has stopped going to church over gay conversion therapy in churches. What do you think about what she said?
I mean, listen, Miley, you can do whatever you want. You know, today I had a very unexpected call by a church that I'm a part of their community, and it was an unsolicited call, and it was a wellness check-in. They have their congregation calling the members of their church to check in with them and just see how they're doing and if there's anything that they need. It brought me to tears today. So whether or not everyone, we can't just keep grouping everyone into one big pot, okay? Religion is not just about gay conversion therapy. We can make a stance, and it doesn't have to do with removing yourself from your spiritual practice.
The pen is stronger than the sword, and we have to be careful, just like we are every time that we speak, or at least I do my best, that we're using our words very, very carefully, because I believe her intentions are very strong and positive, but maybe they're just a little bit too swaying back and forth to actually get to the point and the goals that she might want to reach.
I think as a woman of faith and as a good Christian woman, I think most LGBTQ people that are of faith go through a similar experience. My family is very charismatic, evangelical, Pentecostal. My dad is a minister. I went to Oral Roberts University for 4 years.
Really?
In 1998.
Wow.
I got kicked out of Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Praying Hands School, my senior year because I was queer. Now, I went through a very similar phase where I hated God and I hated Christians because most of them hated me first. And yes, Christians point fingers and say, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. I'm not, I'm going. And a lot of fat people and overweight people say, you're fat, I'm skinny. But calling somebody else fat doesn't make you skinny, and calling somebody else a sinner doesn't make you sin-free. So it has taken me a long journey to go back into my faith and find open and affirming churches. Not all, and I agree with you, not all churches are hateful. Some churches are open and affirming. And if you understand the biology of LGBTQ issues and being transgender, all babies are XX for the first trimester. That means they're female. In the second trimester, the tubular turns to a penis or clitoris. And in the third trimester, the brain gender is developed. 1 in 330 people their gender is different from their brain sex. That's biology. And if you believe in biology, if you believe in science, look at Jeremiah 1:30 and see that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart and made you equal. It took me a long time to realize that God made me this way. It wasn't my choice. And I'm not disgusting and I'm not an abomination. So I understand Miley's pain, and I have been there. I have been going to churches that told me I was disgusting and used the Bible as a weapon to me. But I no longer believe that way. And I hope that she finds a good Christian believer that is open and affirming in a church that can call her home. Thank you for taking a side against conversion therapy. I think that's disgusting, and I think it is wrong. But I hope that she finds the light as well.
I have to tell America and the host at the table, I violated my own rules because I got lost in your science explanation. It was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell number 3. New Orleans has become the epicenter of the entire world of coronavirus. The reason? Mardi Gras. What do y'all think? Social distancing. New Orleans now, in the last 10 days, has had the greatest percentage of new transmissions of any location in the entire world. And they've tracked it back because of the number of people, 1.2 million people in a 4-day span in New Orleans for Mardi Gras.
When was Mardi Gras again? Remind us.
February 27th weekend.
And people were traveling from all over in a couple of states in particular, including Arkansas and others, that they're now coming back. And they're
3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah. But it takes that long for the incubation. And that's part of the problem. Trump knew about this ahead of time. Trump could have stopped this just like other major circuit parties or other events. And instead, he decided not to do that. And he wanted this to carry on so that this is what would happen.
Yeah, and the truth of the lack of testing has allowed this virus to spread untraceable, untrackable. And because of that, we're going to see a serious increase. People are saying, experts are saying that we might be the hardest hit industrialized nation. And, I don't know why we're not, just telling the truth to the American public so that y'all can just stay home.
This is a very important story to the LGBT community. It really is. Because I'm a member of Harry Connick's crew of Orpheus in Mardi Gras. I've been to Mardi Gras at least 10, 12 times. This is an important story because it proves that social isolation must happen in the short run until we get testing under control. It proves that our movement causes dramatic expansion of coronavirus, not only in terms of the people that are coming, but they get infected and they leave with it. And the people that stay have now received it, which is what's going on in New Orleans. And this is a big story for the gay community.
Especially as it potentially relates to Florida, which has a huge LGBTQ community and a lot of circuit parties. And what's important here is for every LGBTQ person, especially people that are my age and younger, to be responsible and not go out and hook up, please.
We move on to Saved by the Bell number 4. Trump endorsed news outlet says gay activists have caused coronavirus, and they are dying because of God's judgment.
Churches. The lawyers who
I think we've kind of touched on this a minute
ministries.
ago already.
The ones pushing for integration of bathrooms.
If anything, if you're going to argument, it'd be the rich person.
Little kids even.
Because the ones that were infecting us were the world travelers and the jet setters. And the ones, like the number one thing is, when like for example, they're limiting the tests in Florida. Unless you've been out of the country. Who can afford to leave the country?
Do not be in opposition to the Lord Jesus Christ and His church.
So it's the rich person, the jet setter, that's the ones that are, being the worker bees spreading the virus in the first.
And apparently the Republicans too, who just don't even believe that this virus is a hoax. So.
Or that Rand Paul can just not be in quarantine when he thinks he has this. That seems fair.
All right, we're done on religious zealots.
We can trash them for a while. I'm sure. They
All right, let's move on. Yeah. Saved by the Bell number 5. Over 140 LGBTQ couples got married over the weekend in a mass wedding in Mexico, including a significant number of trans marriages. What do y'all think?
That's beautiful, and it's also terrifying. We're talking about Corona right now, and now we're at least my brain goes to, okay, are these people going to be blamed for the fact that they had a mass event, and then now it's going to be skewed? Every single pandemic is always pushed onto one person.
While yes, I think the focus of the story here is that Mexico is ahead of America. With 2 weeks' notice, you were allowed, if you were trans, to change your name to your new trans name, and that would be completely accepted as your legal documentation in Mexico going forward when they got married. 140 couples took advantage of that, which means 280 people, and the trans people were treated just like everyone else, which was treated just like all of the gay people, which was just like all of the straight people. I think that's the big story here.
Yeah, I'm just happy that during this crisis, people are still committed to each other for a lifetime. And that's, look, if we're going to go down with the ship, we might as well go down married, I swear,
Napoleon.
I'll go down on most things. As you heard, a tree in my backyard is about to get some great oral action. So I'll see you right there later, Professor Oak.
That's the soundbite in tomorrow's marketing. It's happening.
Oh my God.
All right, let's move on to Saved by the Bell number 6. This is a really touching story, this next one. It has to do with Pornhub.
Yeah.
Did you know how philanthropic Pornhub is? Well, they are, because they've given New York City coronavirus healthcare workers free masks and free access to porn.
I've known how giving Pornhub is for many, many years. I'm not surprised by this at all. But it is really great. They've given over 50,000 masks to different variations of New York fire departments, hospitals, police departments. And then they're also donating to a number of significant other causes, from sex workers that might be put out of work because of what's going on, to raising the amount of money that people actually get from their work on their site. It went from 65% to 85%. Pornhub is also offering free subscriptions that used to be $10 to everyone right now.
Like the HD videos?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Pornhub is the number one porn site in the world. And what they're trying to do is help people stay inside because they know everyone's horny and is willing to burst for their urges and go out.
Hello?
I don't watch porn, but I think this is beautiful.
It is. They want people to stay isolated. It's beautiful.
Like you're
You
talking
don't
about with
watch
Grindr.
porn?
No, I don't. I don't. I mean, I know what porn is. I just don't desire it.
I just don't understand you anymore.
But again, like
You just spoke Russian to me. Because it was like, what?
I am a married woman. I have a husband. I think he watches porn, but I don't. I don't need it.
If you knew about porn and you started to name the most famous porn stars in the world, I would tell you I'm personally friends with them. That's how different you and I are.
That being said, I did work for a porn company for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Okay, you guys call each other later, will
Right,
you?
exactly. So that's Saved by the Bell this week, and we'll do this every week, talking about some of our stories in an abbreviated lightning round. We want to play Shag, Marry, Chop. Now, if you follow It's Happening Out, you know. Shag, Marry, Chop is fun because we pick 3 people or items or objects or trees or whatever it might be.
Oh my God, I hope today.
Now that they're viable.
Oh my God.
Trees are viable.
I've learned so much about trees in the last week.
Oh, well, so we play Shag, Marry, Chop, and each of our hosts has to tell us who they would shag, who they would marry, or who they would chop. This week's edition is I'd Hit It. My favorite sport is UFC. I love UFC. Yeah. And so we have 3 UFC fighters.
Cool.
And this is Shag, Marry, Chop. UFC fighters, I'd Hit It. The first is Conor McGregor. And then Cody Garbrandt. And then Andre
Sukhamath.
Yes. All right.
Which well, first I wanted to say this. Why did you guys pick all the little guys? I mean, like, what are these? Are like toys.
Yum.
Actually, you know, it's
oh my God, he's got weights on.
In UFC, the most popular weight classes that
the welter.
they're in the midweight categories. The big heavyweights, they are not the most popular. And part of it is because of the activity of the sport. This is really a brawl. It's boxing and wrestling and
why are we still talking about not sexing them right now? This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Wow. This was the absolute worst week you could have chosen.
Napoleon, we're gonna postpone your agony even longer. Josie, who would you shag, marry?
Okay, I'm gonna shag Cody. I'm just gonna say that he looks, he looks active. I'm gonna marry Connor because he's just a badass. I love his.
He's one of the most famous UFC stars.
Yeah, if you see him, he's also taking a real political stance right now for Ireland, and he's just a badass. He's a troublemaker. I like it all, and we would have a lot of fun together and probably create a lot of trouble.
Don't like his beard.
But that's all changeable. But Andre, I can't even get down with that. I don't even know what that's all about. I don't care. Maybe you're a good fighter. I can't even.
He has a nice
You're
butt.
chopped.
Nice butt.
Well, see, that's all you, honey.
Right? Exactly true. That's all me.
That's all you.
The last time I was on this show, I agreed 100% with Josie, but I'm slightly differing from you today. In college, I did go through an Asian phase. I dated several Koreans.
My wife, too.
Wait. It's called an Asian phase.
I was a rice queen for like a couple years.
Oh, rice queen. All right.
That's not racist. Don't worry.
God, I love it.
In the 90s, this was real, and I went to a Korean church a couple times, and I learned. I still know how to say.
You went to church because you were a rice
getting
queen?
a Korean.
I
went to his church.
Okay.
But I still remember how to say 안녕히가세요 and 안녕하세요, which means hello and goodbye. That's all I remember now.
Yeah.
But
no spicy sentences.
I'm chopping Andre though for this one.
Oh.
I'm going to marry Cody because just yum on a daily basis. And I'm having angry, aggressive sex fantasies with Connor at this very moment.
My gosh, is this a trans thing? Because Aaron too always picks the shag based on the angry sex that we can have.
I don't know. Like, I don't think I would want that on a daily basis. Like, I think he would hurt me. But also, hot and sweaty sex might be fun every once in a while. So the shagging for Connor.
Now, you didn't understand the code words that just happened there, but Napoleon's "oh God" was "oh please, I hope he."
Are we still filming right now? For the love of God.
All right. So, wait.
Put it away, Napoleon.
Before we move to Napoleon, let's talk about
you.
what we're going to do on the show next week.
Hate you.
No. All right. So tell us, Napoleon, get off.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to get off on camera right now. That's for my Just for Fans later. So what am I going to do? Who are you
doing?
Who the hell could even choose right here? They're all the same person. They're hot guys that are doing this thing. I'm going to shag the human. I'm going to marry the equipment, and I'm going to chop the extra video.
This is so funny.
Nonsense.
America, I'm telling you something that's interesting. If you're lesbian, trans, whatever, you're hearing a very unique gay man thing. It's like, it doesn't really matter. As long as it moves and breathes and can suck me or do whatever, it's fine. That's what you just heard.
Basically, but these aren't just people. Look at these people. These are great people. These are great people that deserve to be here right now.
All right, here, let me try to help you. If you had to focus on one, shagging just one, who would it be?
Whoever lives closer right now. That is all that matters.
Available this second.
Literally all that matters.
But who do you want to marry?
No, shag. No,
I want to shag whoever's around the corner because they probably live in Florida. I want to marry the person that's going to train me to shag everyone else. I want to chop the person that won't shag me because they're straight.
All right.
So, refusing to participate, God.
Right? Every single person on the screen.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to let this go because you really hit it. Because at the end of the day, he is shagging and marrying and chopping all of them together simultaneously.
Collective.
Because his
Collective
excitement is
Sure.
that all four of them are in the same.
I am abiding by
It's
social
a Kink
distancing.
coronavirus shag.
I'm being a healthy millennial, and I'm staying distance from people.
The funny thing is, when you come back to the show next Wednesday, and Napoleon has 2 black eyes and lots of bruises, you'll know what happened in the foursome that he really is really.
Oh my God! Early birthday present, please.
Oh my God!
So that is our game, Shag, Marry, Chop. We're at the end
Do you
of
go?
the show. Well, I'll do it. Actually,
Napoleon skipped out. They only got our viewers only got 2 responses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really true. You kind of screwed the
The
pooch.
one that had all of the weights on them. I'm gonna marry the one that was on the left that was just doing all the workout. And I'm gonna tell the one on the right.
You are so horny you can't even remember their names,
Do you know anyone's name? Are they all
Connor,
I
Andre,
know all
and
three of these
Cody.
guys. I can't pronounce Andre's last name,
Yeah,
but
I know.
I've seen them all fight.
I know, but if they were black, it'd be different, right?
Oh, it's
I love
silly.
you.
All right. Well, actually, mine would be Conor McGregor. I know the best, and we have not
Most
met.
familiar.
I'm most familiar with, but none of these three are archetype
What about Cody?
for me.
Cody?
None of you're speaking for yourself,
I'm
Napoleon.
speaking for the world.
All right, all right. So actually, none. And beards, nah, not so much. I'm a clean-shaven guy, and I like bigger guys, the heavyweights. All right. So that's Shag, Marry, Chop. Before we end the show, we always end with Jet's Pizza. And Jet's Pizza, if you're here in South Florida, is a great choice for you because you can call them safe delivery. And we are, David, are you going to hand me a pizza or whatever we're doing with Jet's?
I know that I'm thirsty, but we can still be hungry too.
Right. And it's a reminder. We thank Jet's Pizza for sponsoring. It's happening out. Oh my goodness! It
Nice
smells
and hot.
so amazing.
Whoa!
They do have
These
deep
are
crust.
deep dish Detroit
There it
style, pizza.
Deep.
And
I'm
thank you.
going to tackle that gluten-free pizza that they have about as quickly as I'm going to Cody Garbrandt.
And the delivery person is here behind camera, but she's very shy. So
And
we're
she's
gonna
wearing
keep-
a mask and gloves.
Right, and we're going to keep working on that.
It's because they have great protocol there.
All right. Excuse me. So let's say goodnight tonight, and I give all of the hosts the opportunity to say goodnight. And Misty, let's start with you.
Good night, all of our viewers. Thank you for having me again on my second, I think, visit here at It's Happening Out. Remember, protect yourself, respect yourself, and protect others by quarantining yourself. Take care of yourself on a daily basis. Keep shaving and keep wearing bras and putting on normal clothes and leaving your house, getting a little bit of sunlight every day or getting in the pool or something. Return to normalcy for your own mental health.
I'm so excited to learn tonight at It's Happening Out that a step in the positive direction in coronavirus is putting on a bra. How exciting.
Take that advice up.
First day in 12 days.
Chef Josie.
All right. Well, I'm going to say goodnight, humans. That's right. That's what you are. And remember that during this crisis that you are resilient, that you are resourceful, and that you are stronger than you know. So do everything that you can in your power to stay above the chaos. Just know there's many things that you can do. You can follow me also on my at Chef Josie on any of the social media, and I'll be giving you some tips to stay connected and stay positive. But give yourself time to rest right now, and let's do this as a community because we all matter.
And before I turn it over, and good night to my friend, Napoleon, your mother is watching the show right now, so I'll turn to my horny friend, Napoleon, please, to say good night.
Please never say my horny friend Napoleon plays as his
Your
mother's
mom is watching.
ever again.
Well, Mom, you know about your son,
that's in
right?
the universe
Okay.
forever. Miss Elvishaw say something about that to him later today. But what we can go into right here, honestly, is I know it's a really, really hard time. I am all about playing. My motto is play every day, every way, and I do encourage that. Josie is right there with that. We do that every week. But right now, I am reminding myself that this is a difficult time, and I have to accept the things I cannot change, have the courage to change the things I can, and have the wisdom to know the difference. So for all of you out there that understand that or that need that same help, I'm here for you, we're here for you, and I love you.
I love that challenge that organization
Can I sneak
does.
in one more second?
Yep.
Something Napoleon said earlier, the first step is admitting you need help. The second step is to realize you're not alone. And whether you're dealing with addiction or dealing with transgender feelings, you are not alone. There are other people with you. And I know you're physically, socially isolating yourself right now, but do not distance yourself emotionally. Get out there and call people. There are, and I can help you. If you reach out to me, I'll be tagged in the links. I can give you not social, what's it called? Internet support groups and things like that. So you can talk to other people in the safety of your own home, wearing a bra or not.
I'm a little curious and confused about what you just said. Napoleon is experiencing trans-related issues?
No. I'm saying you are not alone because we were talking about LGBTQ people and depression, and we were talking about transgender and depression, and we were talking about realizing you might have an addiction as well. And you said the first step is to realizing you have a problem. And yeah, that in all LGBTQ things, you think you're trans, the first step is acknowledging that you're transgender or acknowledging that you're gay. You have to admit it to yourself many times before you could tell it to anybody else at all. Like, and a lot of times when we tell our family and our loved ones, I'm this way, we've dealt with it for a very long time, and we expect them to be okay with it today. Mom, why don't you understand? Blah, blah, blah. But I didn't tell you for 10 years because I was afraid, and I want you to be okay with it today. And we have to realize that it takes other people just as long to get around to the idea that we are different. But no matter what you're struggling with, you're not alone. You are not alone. Accept your differences and that you might need help, and get help.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sentiment, and actually, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to end It's Happening Out by saying basically so many of the things that Misty just said. I'm very proud of my participation in It's Happening Out and my relationship with the host at It's Happening Out, and that is really the number one thing. If you watch YouTube or you watch Facebook and you watch people that watch live shows in YouTube or in Facebook, Q News Tonight last week had 100,000 people watching YouTube. That is basically impossible. Last week, this show, last Wednesday, had 502,000 people watch the show. That is impossible. If you look at comparable live video in the LGBT community, not only here in Florida, but around the country, if you get to numbers of 2,000 or 3,000, you're doing great. We had 100,000 and 500,000. There's a reason why. Exactly what Misty just said to you. Because you need association with community. What is being talked about here is really, really important. Never more in 70-some episodes than now. Coronavirus is changing and challenging every fiber of everything we knew. The important thing is what you've heard from all of these hosts tonight. You are not alone. We are going to talk about everything. There are no taboo subjects. And as a result, because we make those 3 commitments, we will get through this. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And it's one of the reasons why we thank you for joining us every night live at 7 p.m. at Q News Tonight and every Wednesday night at 8 at It's Happening Out. So remember, if it's important to you, it is happening out. Good night, America.